Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Meredith Falvo on the line, and she is Head of Business Development over at Gazelle Global Research Services. Meredith, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, Meredith, so excited to get into today's topic and to learn more about Gazelle Global. But before we do that, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So, Meredith, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Meredith, what mission matters to you?
I would say the mission that matters to me most from a professional standpoint is to be the backbone of good research, to support, more importantly, to support research that adds value to the world.
That's awesome. Love bringing mission-based individuals on the line to share, why they do what they do, how they do it, and really like what we can all learn from that so that we can all grow together. So definitely great to have you on. And I guess just to kind of get us started here, I mean, what led you on this journey to, Gazelle Global and really into the world of research? Like, how did you get started?
Oh, wow. So I got started right out of college. I was kind of born into the industry. My father ran a focus group facility.
Wow. That's so cool. I've talked to a lot of individuals in research. You're the first that I've ever talked to that was born into. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. I grew up eating respondent sandwiches and food from clients that my dad would bring home.
That's so cool.
I was slated to be a history teacher, and he said to me, just come and work for me for a couple of months. I just lost 2 project managers at the same time. And just get me back on my feet. Okay. And then, 20 plus years later, here I am.
Wow. So I feel like, and correct me if I'm off on this, but you have maybe a little bit of a different lens in which you kind of view the world, because you've always been on that other side of it and seeing like how, like digesting, I shouldn't say view the world, but like the way you digest information, it's probably unique. Am I off on that?
Oh, no, absolutely. There's times where, like even as a kid, I'm looking at packaging and looking, because my dad was he always liked to talk about it and explain like what it is they did. And he got his start working for IBM on a product line. So, he, from a very early age, he was always talking to me about, what market research is, how it's different from marketing. I got that education pretty early on.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't even imagine what the in a good way, by the way, like the dinner table conversations around the holidays or things like that, and new products, and to grow up around that. I've had a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of different individuals, and some I like to always picture what the dinner time table must have looked like as a kid, and you're over here learning about market research. That's great.
Yeah. My dinner table, I come from an Italian-American
oh my
family.
gosh. Oh,
so
delicious.
the dinner table was always, it was some market research based, but it was always food.
So let's, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go a little bit further into just kind of the idea, maybe help us understand, the difference between market research, marketing, and really how this, there's a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of executives that listen to this, like how should they be viewing this?
Right. So market research is a different animal from marketing. I mean, we work alongside of marketing, and a lot of the data and the understanding, is pulled from market research, and marketers use that information, right, to target their audience. But marketing is such a broad term. Market research, we're really delving into why the product is used the way it's used, why, who's using it, are they using it to the way it was made to be used, right? Sometimes we get in there and we figure out, hey, product X was used just like a drug. It was used to treat something, and they're using it in a different way. You know, and now with as our country has become more multicultural, and marketing has become and rightfully so, more multicultural. You know, I say that, you know, America is, you know, it's a melting pot. And so now they're marketing towards different ethnicities that you didn't see before, which is a great thing. You know, they're tapping, now you're able to tap into audiences that and really appeal to them, to their traditions, to their you know, to what their life is on a daily basis. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing, and you wouldn't know that unless you did research.
And so what is and I just want to get a feel for this. So is market research and what you do, is that appropriate only for enterprise level clients? Does middle market play a role in here, or is this even trickle down to the small businesses? Like, maybe give us a flavor for who Gazelle Global best serves.
Yes, so absolutely. We service all the way from enterprise all the way down to small business. I had a conversation with a small business owner just last night, wanting to break into, open up a second business line. And, you know, we were discussing where research would fit in to her journey. And she was at the very, very beginning stages, and she decided, you know, all right, you know, well, we spoke about it and decided that once she's ready to pull the trigger, then we'll do, you know, we don't need research before, you know, we need research. Once she decides that she's going to open her doors, now we're going to be doing research. This was for a small rental agency, vacation agency. So she wanted to understand her, you know, what owners want when they're renting, what renters want when they're renting a vacation home. So it can go from small business to that, like a mom and pop, all the way up to, you know, to the enterprise level, and every industry in between. So, you know, market research is done in the financial sector. It's done in pharmaceuticals. It's done in consumer packaged goods. Every product or service should do at some point research. Because you think you know your customers, but you really need to hear from them. You really need to hear, you know, especially when you're talking at like the big levels, the you know, the Pepsis and you know, Frito-Lays of the world or whatever. You know, if you're going to change something, a formula or change a packaging or bring out a new product, it's a hell of a lot cheaper to do research to figure out if that's going to work than roll it out and it fail.
What kind of difference can this work make? Like, give me maybe some an example, or maybe even just some work that you've worked on that you're proud of. Like, give us a little bit of insight behind your wall over there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, you do work. You do what you have to do to pay the bills, right? So of course. There's some work that's, you know, you're you know, saving the world one shampoo at a time, and then there's work that's really meaningful, and you see it, and you're proud of it. Not that I've worked on stuff where I walk down the grocery aisle and I see a new packaging and I'm like, hey, I had a hand in that, right? But there's some research and just getting back to like the world being multicultural and really supporting diversity and inclusion and those efforts. You know, like I said, they're doing research now in the LGBTQ space, with Hispanics, with African American, to really understand their journey. And so, I mean, I've done work there was a TV network that came to us and said, listen, we kind of want to create the Bible of ethnicity and ethnic traditions and backgrounds, and we're going to make content based on that, right? So this was like a year-long journey of following a panel of people of every race, color, creed, everything.
Wow.
And we followed them for a year, doing figure out how does this particular segment celebrate birthdays, or what are big traditions in this for this race, and it was to know that we had a hand in that. Now, of course, we're Gazelle Global we're not analyzing or giving making any suggestions for products or anything. We're the backbone, right? So we're the ones who are going out and finding the people, running the data, but it's so awesome to see that you have a hand in programming on this major network that's now going to use your research to create shows. I've done stuff for people with disabilities, where we had a service provider who wanted to improve on their remote control. So we had to speak to people who were blind, people who were had hearing issues, and they're going to take that information from these people and make their life better. So, market research is not just about feeding marketing. It's also about improving your product to make it better. And I mean, any work that we do in the healthcare sector, I mean, that's directly going to make someone's life better. So,
that's awesome.
Anything from pharmaceutical drugs or working a glucose monitor, maybe, is it accessible for an elderly person to do this, or someone with arthritis, or can they open this bottle, or, so it doesn't even have to be, a drug. It could be more, how they're using the product. So that's, that's where you stand back and you say, okay, so I'm making a difference in the world. It's,
That's awesome. Yeah. It's a great story, and it's interesting to me to see, because also just circling back to the example you talked about a moment ago about the woman who I believe you said, she's saying, okay, if she's going to launch this, then she'll start doing the research. There's also the component there, the ROI component of not going down the wrong rabbit hole, right? And saving yourself some time. And I can just imagine, as you're explaining this, I'm like, man, if I could go back to when I was just starting, I'm like, man, that would have been valuable information. Probably would have saved us some time and some money along the way. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want to roll a product or a service out without having to speak with the people that your customers, because you may, how are you going to market? In your case, how are you going to market this podcast? What platforms are you going to be on? Without that, I mean, you could post to platforms that no one's listening to, or only a certain percentage of the population, or so yeah, you want to make sure. And that's what she said to me. She said, Meredith, listen, I want to do this research. She's like, but I don't want to just put money in and break even on this. I want to see, I want an ROI. My ROI has to be good enough to do this research. And, and that's why I told her, you need to get the ball rolling, get a couple of clients under your belt, and then let's do some research. So you can market yourself appropriately. but yeah, you never want to just throw something out. Like, do you remember when Coke changed their formula?
Oh yeah, that was a big one. That's a big one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How expensive was that mistake?
That
right?
was a big one. Mm-hmm.
That was a big one. Had they done their research, and maybe they did. Maybe they did. I'm
Sure.
That's not my area of expertise, but I can't imagine that they did good research and then found out that it was a big flop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just one of the examples, and for a small business owner, that could be a life savings.
Yeah, for sure.
At the enterprise level, it may be a drop in the bucket.
Mm-hmm. Well, Meredith, first off, speaking of, I know we just barely scratched the surface on your depth of knowledge, and as long as you've been, in this field, and again, the first person I've met that was in their blood, I'll say, which I think is amazing.
Actually,
that being, go ahead.
I will tell you that there are a lot of us out there that have been born into market research. It seems. Wow. There's a lot of them.
Well, that being said, I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing your knowledge, sharing your mission with our audience. That being said, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information about Gazelle Global and to continue the conversation with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, absolutely. They could visit our website, which is gazelleglobal.com, or I am available on LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn /Meredith Falvo, and I'm up on the website also, so they'll be able to find me there.
And we'll put all that information on there so that in the show notes, so that our audience can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters or engaging in an episode, we're all about bringing on business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and having them share their mission, the reason behind their mission, what gets them fired up to go out into the world and to make a difference. If that's the type of content that sounds interesting or fun or exciting to you, we welcome you. Hit that subscribe button. We have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Meredith, really, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you also. Thank you for having me.